Hello, this is Madsen115 here, and in this video I'm bringing you a guide on how to get green fire for your Warlock. But first, let me show you what it looks like on training dummies in Orgrimmar. There's destruction. And demonology, for example. Not showing you affliction because they have no fire theme spells. And because I don't want to pay to respec that. This cosmetic effect was awarded from a quest chain that starts with Seal Tome of the Lost Legion, which drops from rare elites on the Isle of Thunder at a pretty low drop chance. But it's not soulbound, so you can also buy and sell it on the auction house for a pretty penny. Conjure up a health stone so you can combine the book with it, and then you get Codex of Zerath. Click on it to start the quest, An Unusual Tome. For completing the objectives, you have to summon a succubus for the tome's language, and a void walker for the tome's purpose, talk to both pets. Then you click on your quest panel to complete it and get Reader of the Dead Tongue afterwards, which you'll give to a Warlock trainer in any capital city that has a Warlock trainer. They'll then give you a Tale of Six Masters, for which you have to click on a book titled Legacy of the Masters Part 1 near them, which should be sparkling for the quest. After you do that, you turn it in, and then you get Seeking the Soul Stones, which requires you to find soulstone fragments, and for some of them, watch the memories of what happened scattered around the continent of Outland in the zones Hellfire Peninsula, Netherstorm, Blade's Edge Mountains, and Shadowmoon Valley. In Hellfire Peninsula, the fragment is in Felspark Ravine, to the east of Thrallmar. If you notice that debuff I have, it will indicate how close you are to the fragment. Blue for cold, yellow for warm, red for hot. Don't let the huge blue area for the quest objective fool you. They are each in only one spot. For Netherstorm, you go to the ruins of Farallon in the northern part of the zone. Upon looting the fragment here, a little roleplay event with Kenrathad, Ebonlock, and Jubeka Shadowbreaker plays. There's a lot of dialogue and lore in this quest chain, but unfortunately none of it is voice acted, which is a huge shame because that keeps people engaged, you know. For Blade's Edge Mountains, you go to Vimgol's Circle in the northeast, near the bridge to Netherstorm, loot the Soulstone fragment, another RP event plays, and move on. And last but not least, we have Shadowmoon Valley. You go to the Altar of Damnation to the west of the Hand of Gul'dan, a volcano in the middle of the zone, loot the fragment there, and you have completed Seeking the Soulstones. Now for Seek the Signal. Simply approach the Black Temple at the very western end of Shadowmoon Valley. After doing so, this is the home stretch of the quest chain. Except infiltrating the Black Temple, but do not go into the hole in the wall on the side where the raid entrance is. Instead, go down this path, and at the end of which there's a gate, and you'll see a glowing skull surrounded by ruined arrows called Jubeka's Mark. Click on it, and you'll enter a solo scenario in which you run through the Black Temple and find out what happened to Kenrathad Ebonlock, and get your green fire effect. You'll start in the courtyard just beyond the gate. Now watch out for these guards and the workers. Getting close to workers will alert the guards, who have huge circles around them. If they get too close to you, you'll be stunned and momentarily sent back to the entrance, which is super annoying. You can kill them, but like I said, keep your distance. You can also be stunned, but are immune to all other forms of CC. At the ramp into the temple, there are 3 guards with no gaps between their circles, so stun one as you run through, and kill them when they get close to you. There are more guards inside the temple, avoid those entirely. Once you get in here, you'll find stairs with a scroll at the top. Click on said scroll, then a comma will sneak up on you, intending to kill you before realizing you aren't with Chewbacca and Canrithad, who broke into the temple earlier. He decides to instead help you find out what they did here. First, you'll follow him to the Shrine of the Lost Souls where you fought the Reliquary of Souls in the Black Temple raid. Now there's one problem. On the way there are invisible traps that hurt very bad and can be triggered by you or your pet. So you'll want to be talented in a Grimoire of Sacrifice, which makes having a pet unnecessary, or at least dismiss it. These traps can only be seen with an Eye of Kilrog, so add that to your bars and use it to navigate through the maze safely. You can also lay down demonic gateways and raid markers to help you get through. Once you're finished with the maze, you walk into this pit and start another RP event, after which you fight a boss known as Essence of Order. This guy casts spells that do some damage but are avoidable. Spell Flame draws a line of purple fire on the ground, don't stand in that. Then it casts Hellfire, which does AoE damage around it. Hellfire can be interrupted with Spell Lock. Then these Lost Souls spawn. Drop Rain of Fire on them to generate burning embers and cleave them down with the boss. Apologies for the lag, by the way. I record this while having internet issues. Also, you can only do this quest chain once per Warlock tune, and this is my only one, so I had to seize the opportunity. Upon killing Essence of Order, you will loot Empowered Soul Core, which will be important later. Now there are demons crawling all over the Black Temple again, and you have to fight your way through them to the Temple Summit, where you fought Illidan Stormrage in the raid instance. Before you go back the way you came and make your way to the summit, you should summon an imp, who will give you a quest to loot as many valuable items throughout the Den of Mortal Delights as you can in 8 minutes. The timer starts upon accepting a quest, so don't be like me and take it when you're far away from the door. That said, this part is entirely optional and can be skipped if you don't care about making a few hundred gold from this once per character opportunity. Also, there are checkpoints in here after completing stages. So, for example, I die here trying to get to the end of this path, and I respawn at the Shrine of Lost Souls. So when you get there, click on the chest and turn on the quest for plundering, at which point your loot will be appraised. Now head to this door on the right and you'll be teleported instantly to the temple summit. Now for the hard part. You have to defeat Canrithad Ebonlock, and this is a fairly difficult boss, especially if you have low gear and aren't proficient at playing Warlock. First, soulstone yourself, because you will most likely die during the fight. For talents, Grimoire of Sacrifice and Kil'jaeden's Cunning are crucial here. The former should be used on an imp to give yourself Singe Magic, which cleanses a magic debuff off of you on a 10-second cooldown. Use it on CD. The latter allows you to cast filler spells while moving, and there is a lot of movement in this fight, and Incinerate is more mana efficient than Felflame. For glyphs, you absolutely should take Glyph of Subjugate Demon, as the reduced cast time will help you not get stunned when you have to control a demon, and you will during this fight. By the way, do this as Destruction. I don't know about Demonology and Affliction, but I've only ever seen people do this as Destruction. To start the fight, click on the soil, then a 30-second RP event happens, after which you attack him. "10 seconds into the fight, he will summon a Pit Lord that you must control with Subjugate Demon. This demon has 2 important abilities: Charge, which stuns the target for 6 seconds and makes them take extra damage for the duration, but it's on a 20-second cooldown, so use it wisely. And then there is Felflame Breath, which deals a large amount of damage to targets in front of your pet, and should dispel magic effect from close enemies and allies, but it might be bugged because it wasn't doing it for me. He also has Demonic Siphon, which I didn't use here because I'm stupid. It heals you at the cost of the Pit Lord's health. Now, Canrithad lays down Rain of Fire on you throughout the fight, so move out of it. He also applies a curse that kills you after 7 minutes, essentially an enrage timer. He also casts Chaos Bolt, which will damn near kill you without a defensive cooldown. It can only be interrupted with the Pit Lord's charge, but because of a 20-second cooldown on that, it may get awkward if you cast Cataclysm immediately afterward. Throughout the fight, he casts Seed of Terrible Destruction and Excruciating Agony on you. The seed, when it explodes, gives you a negative effect Be it an imp that randomly stuns you every few seconds, purple swirl on the ground, where you deal reduced damage. Excruciating agony deals increasing damage over time. Both of these can be removed with Singe magic, albeit only one at a time. At 70% health, he will summon a ton of wild imps on which you can use Rain of Fire to generate embers to either Chaos Bolt the boss, or heal yourself with Ember Tap. Also, you'll want to use Soul Shatter at this point so your Pit Lord can take the Chaos Bolts instead of you, allowing you to use Charge on Cataclysm instead. At 55%, he'll summon 3 Fell Hunters from the portal. These little bastards unenslave your Pit Lord, and you have to re-enslave them. Kill these dogs quickly. At 45%, he summons a Doom Guard from the portal. Keep it banished and no problem. For the rest of the fight, he'll summon Imps again, followed by Fell Hunters, and then another Doom Guard. Now here's where I die to Cataclysm and use my Soul Stone from earlier. Cataclysm will hit you for more health than you're going to have in MoP Classic, and cannot be avoided if it is not charged. As long as your Pit Lord remains enslaved when you die, the fight will not reset when you use your Soul Stone. However, you have to re-summon an imp and re-sacrifice the imp, and then re-enslave the Pit Lord. Then, before he summons more Fell Hunters, I lay down a Rain of Fire at the portal to make sure I have aggro on them, so reduce the chance of having to re-enslave my Pit Lord. At about 10%, he's going to summon another Doom Guard, which I fear. When you damage him down to 2%, the fight is over. All you have to do is wait for him to finish channeling a stun on you. Then Jubeka comes in and you click on his body and voila! You now have green fire. Yeah, this is gonna look pretty fucking awesome here though. Hang on, wait for it. I decided to add this in while editing the video. So yeah, just look at that. Just spin around a ball of felfire. MoP was a great expansion, man. I'm terrible at ad-libbing, as I've said before. That's why I wrote a script, but I didn't account for this part, so whatever. Now, you can go to the Altar of Damnation in Shadowmoon Valley to turn it off and on again anytime. Talk to Jubeka Shadowbreaker and she'll remove it from your spellbook for 500 gold. To turn it back on, click Kenrithad Ebonlock and do the spin again. That's the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate the support. Like, comment, and if you want to catch my rare upload, subscribe. Peace out.